Come on. This is our show.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
go.
the show. This is the
Okay.
show.
Welcome to the Can Blue Podcast, the world's first and only hockey podcast that features the Canadiens, the Montreal Canadiens, and the New York Rangers. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Prattley. I'm covering the Rangers side, and I'll throw it over to my co-host, Brendan Furtado.
I'm Brendan, and I'm the obvious Habs fan here.
Yes, and we're currently located in our makeshift studio in Brendan's basement.
In a basement,
which
yeah.
is great for what it is. We have some jerseys behind us representing the different colors here.
We don't have a Rangers jersey, so we just took a vintage Habs jersey and flipped it around.
Rangers jersey on the way. I have plenty at home.
Yeah, you need to bring one.
So what I think we want to do is talk a little bit about the NHL. We have so many conversations about the NHL when we're hanging out together, so we figured why not videotape, record, and throw it on YouTube or a podcast. We're going to talk about the NHL. We're going to talk about different fantasy hockey options, and then of course we're going to talk about the games for our respective teams around the league this past week. So to start around the league, I guess for this week, what I really, not just games and results, what I really want to call to is all these contract talks that are going on.
Talks.
So like,
Yeah.
for example, right, Jeremy Swayman just signed a big deal.
Was it 8 years?
8.25, I think.
Okay.
And, you
For
know.
8 years.
For 8 years, yes,
Wow,
which
yeah.
is massive. And then also his former counterpart, Linus Ullmark in Ottawa, also signed an $8.25 million deal, but for 4 years. So it's funny how those two are the, they were like the goalies that would hug.
They were. I thought they were going to be the back-to-back for many years to come in Boston.
I think they just had to make a choice. So it's hard to run a two-goalie system.
Yeah.
And you have to pay the guys. Like, I think they were at such low contracts that it made sense, but they ended up going with the Alaskan native Swayman as their starter. And
I didn't know he was from Alaska.
Yeah,
Nice.
and they shipped. It's funny. There's some goalies that come out of Alaska. Like I think Phoenix Copley on the Kings is also.
Is he still
Alaskan.
even? Oh, okay, he's still playing, right?
I think he's the second or third goalie there because they have Kemper
Nice.
now. The
Nice.
Kings, Copley and one other.
You know the third string goalie? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't keep track
All right,
of even the backup.
Another little background, I'm the commissioner of our fantasy hockey league. So I've been scouring, because I write power rankings for everyone. It's a 16-team league. So I've just been going over everyone's draft picks and 16 times, I guess 16, because that's how many guys we have on our roster.
That's true.
So I know
There's a lot of players.
I know pretty deep down in a lot of rosters.
And you ranked yourself pretty high this year, so
Oh, yeah.
let's see if
gonna have
that
to-
matches.
I'm going to have to show up because
yeah, exactly.
I got 14th out of 16 last year. It wasn't good. I drafted Bedard way too high.
Whoa, it's too early to tell.
It's true, but we do a little keeper system.
He got his first goal yesterday of the year.
I didn't see it, really.
Yeah. Even McDavid hasn't had his first goal
That's
yet.
true. Lafreniere does, though. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll go back to that.
Do you see Celebrini's goal?
I did. It was a weird one. It was like a weird backhand from the circle, right?
Yeah, so he brings it down the far, or I guess the, board side, outside of the circle, and then does a little spinorama deke.
Yeah.
And then tosses it to the middle. I thought initially Eklund shot it in, but it hit the Blues player's skate. So, and then just went in, and he freaked out.
And now he's injured.
Yeah, now he's on the IR. That's tough for Sharks fans, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really.
They have Smith, and they're gonna have a great young team.
They're gonna be good.
For a while.
Yeah, I drafted Askarov way too early. I thought he was gonna make some plays this year, but maybe not.
You should have. I mean, we were talking about Askarov getting sent down to the AHL.
What is he's injured?
I think he must be injured. I think that's what the reports were saying. Yeah.
What?
I don't know. I'm not even. It's not.
They
my
always
team.
say lower body injury or upper body
They're
injury.
very protective. People were talking about why does the NHL do that when the NFL has to be so regimented.
Yeah, that's true.
Reporting what people have, and I don't know. It must be just CBA related, I think.
Yeah, I would like to know.
Actually,
maybe
another
it depends
podcast
on the
talked
organization.
about this. It was also during the playoffs because they think and they know, and I think rightfully so, that other teams are going to target. Like if they hear lower body injury, okay. But if they hear, oh yeah, he has like a bum ankle, they're going to go after it. Yeah. Which
okay,
is
that
like
makes sense.
that's the competitiveness and like the fierceness of the NHL playoffs. So it makes sense.
Yeah, that's pretty ruthless.
Yeah.
Well, we're still waiting for our next spot in the playoffs. But with the way Monty's playing, who knows? Maybe if we could keep it up. We had a good start to the year so far.
Is he going to get a Team Canada bid?
Yeah, for sure.
Who's?
Well, there's Binnington, I know, and there's one more.
I don't love.
There's three. There's Binnington, the other guy, and Monty.
Demko's American, right? I think he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's American.
That's funny. I never see Monty as like a top goalie, but
yeah, I know.
he is fun.
I used to make fun of him. I call him Dr. Montalban.
Why?
I don't know why.
It just suits him?
No, because when he first started playing, I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
And like we just lost Price. And
yeah, that's true.
I'm
Going
like,
from Price to Montalban, but I mean, he's a true bred French Canadian. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
they gotta love him out there.
And he's improving his game. I
remember seeing it
easily.
We saw him when we went and saw a game at Bell Center, right?
Yeah.
He was pretty good.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's encouraging to see his growth. What's not encouraging is, the potential bust. No, I'm not going to say bust, but disappointment with Caden Primo. He had a tough game, Boston, this week. Yeah.
Let's get to that later, though. Anything else around the league?
Around the league, Barkov.
Yes. So, but I think they released that it's not as serious as it looked. It looked like he might
3
be
weeks
out for like the season. After that. And
I was like,
I want to get your
God
thoughts
I
on
didn't
this.
draft him.
Well, that's true. I want to get your thoughts on this though because I feel like it comes up a lot. Tim Stützle, I think, like we know he's a flopper. He flops all the time, and I've held this guy as a keeper on my fantasy draft or my fantasy team for like 3 or 4 years now. So like I think he produces, and I like him as a player on the offense side. But I feel like every time I see him play or play against, was that the preseason game?
Preseason.
Was it Jack Eye came across, and it looked like Jack Eye got him high, but it ended up just being Stutz's own stick, and then he fell down like a actor or something.
I haven't seen Stützle play that much, honestly, but I mean, to be fair, the initial camera angle of the typical overview of the side, it does look like Jack Eye hit him hard. And even the commentator goes like,
he definitely did. It's Jack Eye's game. I mean, he went after him hard.
But he went after him hard.
Yes.
There's intention for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, he missed, really.
Yeah.
Even the commentator's like, oh yeah, Jack Eye's out. Yeah, he's gonna be gone.
I saw that. I heard
and
that.
And then you see the front angle where you're facing the net, and he actually just hits the stick.
Yeah.
And he obviously flops. But I didn't know that Stützle was a flopper like that.
He's a flopper. I see it pretty much every time he plays the Rangers. He tries to draw it. And then like tying that into the Barkov injury, they were battling to get to the puck on, I guess it was an icing, but I think Barkov was trying to score on the empty net. And it's a good play by Stützle because he hustles out like the big finished Barkov.
Right.
But they just both go into the boards. I'm not saying Stützle did that on purpose because I don't think he did, but it's just kind of like,
too many coincidences adding up, I guess.
No, I don't want to put that on Stützle, but I do. I think it's good for the game of hockey that Barkov will be back soon, for sure. But that is interesting because Florida went on to lose that game, right?
Yep.
And do they have multiple losses already this season? How many games have they played? Do we know?
I think they played a couple. They lost again last night, and I think to Buffalo.
Oh, they did. No, you're right. They did. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw
and
Jeff
that's Buffalo.
Mayer tweet that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that can be concerning. Quick.
Yeah, that's a bit rough.
They got rid of a handful of guys though from the Cup.
They did.
Roster, but you'd think that they would pull it together. And
a couple guys went to Toronto, right?
Yeah. I mean,
other places
they just couldn't possibly keep everyone, and I think they did the right thing keeping Reinhart. He seems like
Verhaeghe.
They locked Verhaeghe up for a while.
That's a good one.
That's a crazy one because I think he was drafted by the Leafs, went over to the
Lightning.
I
didn't know that.
Yeah, he played like 3 games, was sent to
I know.
AHL.
I remember him on the Lightning.
You gotta think the Leafs are like kicking themselves seeing how Verhaeghe turned out.
Dude, I love it. I don't know
It's
what to say.
hilarious.
I find it hilarious every time Toronto, even the slightest mess up is just hilarious
Yeah,
to me.
totally. But yeah, so then he went from there, AHL for a couple years, went over to Tampa, won I think 2 there, and then goes to the crosstown rival or
Wow.
cross-state rival.
Wins one there.
Wins again. So I think he's a 2 or 3 time.
That's crazy.
champion.
He's like one of those players that's like, he's not gonna be like known as like a Crosby, or
No.
or McDavid, but he's a really good player, but has like these rings, you know, like
Is he like an elite middle 6 winger?
for sure. Yeah, I'd say so.
He's
say
also
so.
Mr. Overtime. Like I feel like he is the clutch guy in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was
in
sick.
The overtime.
Yeah, he
like,
was- he's
like
very
over the
clutch.
last couple years.
Yeah, he was great.
That's a guy you want. Him and Matt Tkachuk. Those are guys.
Yeah,
you
that's a
want.
great combo. I mean, yeah, Matt had I mean, I'm not gonna say average. He had a really good year last year, but definitely slightly underperforming than what he can be, which is
True, but do you think he cares?
no, he doesn't.
Like
That's true.
After winning a ring, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, when
like,
when you win one, it
like
doesn't matter.
if Caulfield scores like 20 goals, but the Habs win the cup, no
that
one
yeah,
cares.
that's true.
When
yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
Caulfield can score like 40, 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he hasn't hit 30 yet, which
You think he can though? He might have the case of the Kreider. Won't hit
He'll have it.
over 30 till he's like 33.
that's true. All of a sudden, Kreider is scoring 40 goals a year.
He literally went from not being able to score more than 27 goals to 52 goals, and then down to like 47.
What
It's
do you
like,
think changed in
geez.
his game, or is it just the people around him?
I think, well, he definitely matured and got those top minutes, and then they literally play him as like in every situation. So he's on the penalty kill, which we call the power kill, because him and Zibanejad are out there, and like they do such a good job at pressuring the power play, and since the opposing team's power plays are so focused on getting the shots, they don't anticipate like an elite defensive pair like that, and they go down. I mean, Kreider has, I think, 10 shorthanded goals in the last
Wow.
6 seasons or something, which is a lot. Like
Yeah,
for
that's a
one
lot for
player,
one
it's
player,
a lot. So I think he's just been given more responsibility on every end of the ice. So he has the power kill, the power play, and top 5 on 5 minutes, and he's just like the net front presence guy.
So that's where he's getting most of his goals, in front of the net or close
He's like
to
a
the
Zach
net?
Hyman type. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
I think that might have. I feel like Zach Hyman, he didn't copy the game of Kreider, but he probably saw like, hey, I can make my money right in front of the net, and he's
Yeah,
like, I have
he's
elite
usually
passers
down
and
there.
shooters around there. If
Yeah.
I just hang out, like,
That's true.
it's sick.
They just feed it to you.
Kreider's gotten really good at like getting off the side of the net, so not in front of the net, having someone shoot it and him just tipping it like behind the goalie. It's crazy. When he doesn't even look like a threat, he still is. If he's within that like
Yeah,
5
maybe
foot
they
radius.
just both adjusted to that. They saw, I mean, the people around them, Panarin, Mika, on the other side, McDavid, Draisaitl, and they're just like, yeah, let me just take advantage of what's around me.
Definitely. I guess that makes me think of someone else who should maybe continue to adjust their game, even though he's like
Who?
entering
Kako?
his late 30s. No, Ovechkin.
Ovi.
Because he's on the 42 goal watch to break the record, and
Yeah.
like, I don't think he'll do it this year. It would be awesome.
No,
I
it's
don't want
next
to
year.
doubt it. It's got to be next year.
It's gotta be next
Is this
year,
his
yeah.
last season though, or his last like contract year?
I think so, but
They'll-
I always
they'll up
assumed
it.
that they were just going to sign him again
Yeah,
for
they
another
must.
year or two.
Well, especially like if he needs 42. If he's last year he had a slow start and still ended up scoring 30. If he
Yeah,
still,
I had him on my team. Yeah, and it was so frustrating to see.
the beginning of the year was
Yeah,
tough.
beginning
right?
of the year
but,
was tough.
But Capitals added a ton of players like Mangiapane. They got
PLD.
PLD.
Yeah.
They I mean they have Lindgren and Thompson as their goalies, I think. So they have players.
Charlie. We used
Sonny
to have
Milano.
Charlie.
They have you had Charlie Lindgren?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's where he first started.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He was our backup
Ryan
or
Lindgren's
third
brother.
string.
That's awesome.
Lindgren, the defenseman
Yeah.
on the Rangers.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And then
I'm glad that
Dylan
he has a starting
Strome.
role.
Yeah, that's true. I thought he played decent. I mean, the Caps were just outmatched last year in the playoffs. So
Yeah,
he didn't play bad. It just was like They kind of were they kind of.
They couldn't generate any.
I don't know who
offense.
else would have been better in that last wild card spot though.
Oh yeah, but there wasn't a team that had the points, but because of like the division.
It was like the Penguins, but I don't.
Or was it Philly?
Philly was close. Philly was close.
Some middle team.
Actually, you're right. I think Philly was like right on the cusp, and then they pulled their goalie in overtime or something.
Oh, Detroit. Detroit was.
Detroit too. They're right on the cusp too.
Yeah, they were on the cusp.
I don't see them as.
Refs. Well, they won yesterday.
Who?
I love Lucas Raymond. That guy's.
Mo.
Mo's been my keeper for.
And Kaner.
3 years. Kaner's still going, and they got some great prospects in their pipeline.
True.
Edvinson. Well, he's playing now, but he's pretty hyped there. Obviously, the Brinket.
Oh, he's electric. Though.
Yeah, he's dope. He's dope.
Was the cat? He was on the Senators.
Yeah.
He was never on the Habs, right?
No.
Who am I thinking?
But we always have a comparison to him with Cole.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, he's like he plays like the Brinket. He could be like because of his size and stature.
Right.
Yeah.
But wait, so just to finish the thought on Ovechkin, if he scores 30 again, and that's like kind of a down year for him in all aspects, like, and father time, he's getting older, maybe he can only score 30 now. Even if he does that, he's 12 away. You're telling me he's gonna hang him up? There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
And if the Caps don't want him, like any team will take him.
No, they want him. I mean, the thing is,
finish your career.
They want
as a Cap.
all 895 of those goals, if that's what the number ends up being, to be as a Cap.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, come on.
That's true.
I mean, and it's
no other person could actually replicate that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
It's insane. I mean, I think people are already saying, like, could Matthews get close? They are saying that.
Dude.
70 goals, dude. Well, he got 69, right? He didn't hit 70.
Yeah, he gets, okay. I mean, rough start as a captain.
Yeah, that's true.
No matter how much
hang on.
I
That is a perfect segue into getting into the actual games of
Game 1.
The Canadiens and the Rangers. So let's start with the Game 1 for the Canadiens. Go ahead.
Obviously,
and it's going to start in Canadiens fashion, ripping on the Leafs.
Ripping on the Leafs, yeah. I was going to give compliment first to Nylander. I hate the guy.
Why?
I mean, okay, aside from his really good skill, he's just, I just hate the Leafs.
His dad was a former Ranger?
I didn't know that, really.
Alex Nylander, I think. Nylander, yeah.
I thought Alex Nylander was another Nylander.
His brother, yeah, but I think the dad was Alex also. But either way, yes.
Oh, wait, and there's a new Nylander on the Leafs.
It's Alex, is it?
His brother, right?
Alex.
Is it Alex? I thought it was some other.
Whatever. Continue.
Anyway, I think the true leader of the Leafs is Nylander.
Did you watch the Face-Off series?
No, but I saw clips of him
He
ripping
was like,
into
He was like,
Matthews.
stop being such a baby.
Yeah.
Stop crying,
He's
dude.
like,
just
come on,
score.
let's go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, this guy he's not complaining. He plays the game really well, obviously, but also he just tries to. I think he goes balls to the wall every effort, every shift. I think he does really well.
So, what I'll say is I've been following the Leafs a little bit more closely. There was a clip, I don't think it was in the Habs game, it might have been their second game, where he takes a undisciplined penalty kind of late in the game, and then he, after the whistle, like, takes a slap shot down the ice out of frustration. So, like, whistle goes, puck's on the board, he comes up, he's like, and that's like,
dude,
that's not captain, but you can't
true.
do that.
Anything after the whistle
I do love him,
does like piss me off.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, he's a fiery guy, and he shows emotion, which is like what you want, and I think that's like, it always brings stories and stuff, like that's like to media, that's awesome. But
yeah.
I do think maybe there's some growing up to do there for him, but I mean, I like him as a player.
The whole locker room, especially last year, I think was a moment for them to also really get it together and like grow up, because
well,
I mean, how many times could you run it back? And this is
I
why
mean, they're gonna keep going.
The whole hockey world, especially Habs fans, we love to rip on let's run it back, and yeah, they're great in like the regular season. They beat us most of the time for the past several years.
Yeah,
But come playoffs, where are they? Like, where's Matthews?
it's true.
Where's Marner?
Nylander, like
Marner doesn't show up.
That's true, but Nylander literally didn't show up. Like he had migraines. Do you remember that? He was
That's
out
true. That's
for
true,
like
yeah.
2 or 3 games.
I-
That's against his will, I guess. But
This may not be a hot take, but stripping the captainship from Tavares, I don't think that was the right thing to do.
all right, and let's get back to the Canadiens because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
But they didn't strip the captaincy.
But like,
they said, hey,
we handed
let's
it off.
do a transition to power. Tavares, your deal is up this year. We will probably try to re-sign you, but we know who the next captain is. And maybe he's that much of like a competitor that he's just like, fuck that, and he's against it.
Right.
But I think it was pretty seamless, the transition.
So transition. I don't know.
It's hard to do, for sure. But, I mean, they didn't want to just like...
I just don't see...
I hope they do
the
that with Trouba. I hope they strip
Okay, well,
her.
yeah, Trouba's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking with Pacioretty.
Yeah.
I could have seen that transition from C to someone if he stayed on the team.
Which
But-
is...
but-
Patches have their first goal.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, great. Talk about the Habs
Let's talk
game.
about the
Talk
Habs.
about the Habs game.
So opening night, great opening night. We had like a whole orchestra going. That was pretty
Classy.
sick. Classy occasion. We had Patty Line just on the sidelines.
It's
I was.
tough. We
It's tough.
didn't even touch on that.
And
man.
the reason why, I mean, people are talking about, oh, why does he look so sad? I mean, he wants to be on the ice.
Yeah.
He knows the crowd and the fans love him. Often on the ice.
I really thought he was going to make a big.
And he still is.
Effect
There's
there,
hope.
Impact. Yeah.
We were all thinking the worst case scenario when he got injured in the preseason. I was thinking the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Looked
My
bad.
my cousin was, and
Yeah.
everyone was. All right, he's out for the season.
Yeah.
And I'm just praying like, okay, please, it's not as bad. It's just a strain, and thankfully, it looks like there's no surgery. Well, no surgery,
Okay.
and
So what's his timetable to come back?
around December
Okay,
or
nice,
January.
Nice.
So halfway through the season, but it's not a career-ending injury
Yeah.
or a season-ending injury.
That's
so
good.
we're thankful for that. But yeah, opening night, opening ceremony was great, and there was only one goal on the page, which was Caulfield.
Power play, right?
Power play.
Just like
Great,
low,
simple shot.
below the circle, one-timer pretty much, right?
Yeah, from
If I remember.
Sivkovsky. Yeah.
Slap's
from down
looking like
low.
a monster, man.
Yeah, I want him to score some.
Yeah.
He needs to. Well, we'll talk about that later. But that was a great goal. Monty obviously being the
Oh my
star of the night.
Yeah.
47 saves. I was even considering taking him on the waiver wire before, just cause like it's fun.
He set a record.
He set a record. That's crazy. I should have done it.
Most saves in a shutout in the first game of the season by any goaltender in the
Yeah.
NHL history.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
insane.
And let alone,
Oh my gosh.
and the Quebec media, French Canadian.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course.
Is he the next Carey Price? No.
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 There's no
No,
way. But like, if he can just ride some people are made for it, and maybe
Yeah.
he's just made for it.
If he just keeps keep playing his game,
Yeah.
he'll do solid. I just don't have the confidence yet, in for the defense in front of him. They're still developing. They're
Lane
very
Hudson.
young. Lane Hudson, the GOAT, the future GOAT. Calder, contender,
You're
yes.
very high on him.
I'm very high on him. I drafted him, and the reason why, though, is even last year, you saw flashes of it. Yeah, it's a good glimpse. But during the preseason, every game that he was playing, he just made everyone look better. He was playing with most of the AHLers for one game, and he was the only one that showed up. And now, fast forward to the start of the season, I don't know, but every goal that they score, I see whether he had an assist or not. I just see him celebrating with a bunch of the people. So it's like
Locker room guy?
Yeah, just what?
Locker room guy?
I don't know about that.
Meaning well liked.
No,
and
just
respected, or what?
no, physically on the ice, with just different people that it's hard. Gallagher, for example, he had a tough couple of years. I see him celebrating with him because he scores. Anderson's on the ice and he hasn't scored yet, but this is me saying though that he elevates everyone around him, I think, and he makes everyone look better.
And he skates like
He
130%,
He has
which is good.
He has a pretty shifty and weird way of skating, but it's
Head
working
fake.
right now.
Did you see the Brady Kachuk head
yeah,
fake thing?
Yeah, the
that
head
was
fake,
hilarious.
and then he what's it? Just like fake passes
Yes,
it, and
song,
then goes the other side.
The song pass.
Yeah, the song pass, and just from what I can say right now, he elevates everyone, and he's out there celebrating with the first line, second line, third line, because when he's on the ice, he helps people, and he helps move the puck and possess the puck, because that's been an issue and frustrating thing as Habs fans is we haven't been good with puck possession whatsoever. Passing too has been pretty rough the past couple of years. So the reason why we're so hyped with Lane is because he does all that. He has the ability. We have confidence in his ability to do that.
Yeah.
And so far, so good for him.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I feel like when I watched part of that game, and to tie it into the Rangers game one, like, it just both teams.
Who did they play?
They played the Penguins.
Penguins. Well, they killed them.
They killed them, yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's what, like, the Rangers in that game just looked like a well-oiled machine that could just pass and do whatever they want at will. And then comparing that to the game, the Habs Leafs game, it was way more out of sync. Like, there were rushes and there was chances, but it was never like a beautiful. It didn't seem like a beautiful passing play that would lead to a grade A scoring chance. It would just be like, oh, got to get to the puck, like crazy, like, and that's what you're gonna get with a younger team. So it makes sense. But it was a little. I was watching. I was like, oh, interesting. Like, doesn't seem like the flow of hockey that I'm used to, and it's because they're just a younger team. But you are in a place where I think every year now there's going to be a little bit more expectation, which is fun, and that's the time that I got into the Rangers the most. It was like right after COVID, like the David Quinn era, where he's like kind of getting fired, and then they're like bringing in other guys, and they're getting better and better, and they finally make a playoff run, and they keep going. So now for me, it's just like they have to win the cup. Like, there's no other.
Yeah.
Nothing else is good enough.
Yeah, you're at the.
This is our window.
A big inflection point in this era of the Rangers.
Can the core do it? Right?
Can the core do it? Yeah.
And this is really their last season to fully do it, because Trouba will be gone next year.
Contracts run out.
He has 2 more years, including this year. But the whole thing that happened in the off season with him, with Drury pretty much saying like.
Wait, what happened?
So Drury said, Jake, I'm gonna trade you. Where do you want to go? I'll let you pick.
Wow.
And then Jake, because his
took offense to that.
His no trade list like kicked in basically.
Right.
And I think Drury said something like, "Hey, I know you have a lot of ties in Michigan. You went there, so like I'm thinking of sending you to Detroit. There might be a deal that we could put into place. Would you go there?" And then Jake was like, "No, my wife has a, her next."
Kid?
She needs 1 more year in like nursing school or something, doctor school, and medical school, and we're set up in New York, and we have young kids. Like, I don't want to go. If you do that, if you tell me you're doing that, I'm blocking the trade by putting Detroit on my no trade list. And that's what the running consensus is that he did, which is within his right.
Yeah.
And I think Drury, it's a little bit of a misstep. He should be maybe more cutthroat, but I think he was respecting a veteran player who's served the team well by saying, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and it kind of bit him in the ass a little bit. But it was.
I have something to disagree with you there. I don't think the cutthroat mentality as a GM, because Drury's the GM, right? Is great, because Bergevin, he had that a bit in him, and we lost a few players. And I heard recently a story about Philip Deneau. And there was an arbitration meeting. Bergevin said it the day before his wedding, supposedly.
Oh man,
that's like
that's messed up. I never
messed up.
expect Drury to do something like that,
Yeah.
but like, you also have Drury put Barclay Goodrow on waivers and had his good buddy Mike Greer pick him up. Like, that was totally like planned.
Yeah.
But okay, back to the.
Tough.
It is tough. Back to the game one of the Rangers.
Game one Rangers. Yeah.
There's not much else to say besides like every line scored. They looked great. They were a well-oiled machine. They have the Penguins' number. They've had it for years.
That's true.
Tristan Jarry is a sieve.
What is a sieve?
Like, it's like the thing you put pasta in, and it lets the water. Lets everything through. Through
strainer. Like I thought it was a strainer. Okay, yeah.
That's what you call goalies, a sieve, when they suck. It's just his glove. He can't stop. Like, they go glove side on him in the playoffs during the game. Like he can't stop a puck when it's coming from the Rangers, at least. And I've been down on the Penguins. I mean, I'm obviously not a Penguins fan, and I actively root against them.
Jari.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I drafted him last year. Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
He
for fantasy.
I just can't. And when they got Karlsson, it didn't move the needle for me either. I was like, Karlsson, great. He's coming off this amazing season on the worst team in hockey, and they already have Letang. It's going to cut into both of their points, and it doesn't get them better defensively, which is what they're bad at. Yeah. And then they have I don't know.
They lost Matheson.
Yeah, I'm so down on them. I mean, they should have kept Gensel. That was a mistake.
Yeah, I think so too.
But neither here nor there. Rangers looked great. Kakko and Cooley should have connected for a goal there. Got waved off. Cooley also got another.
Where's Kakko playing nowadays?
He's right wing on the third line with Hedl in the center and Cooley on the left, which is great. I mean, they that game they looked like
that's a
the
pretty
Rangers'
solid
best
third line. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they're going to be the most skilled. They're going to be the most skilled third line on any given night for the most part, I think. Just because you have, Kakko, 2 overall pick. He has that defensive and puck possession capabilities. You have Phil Hedl, who is also, I think he was drafted like 16th overall, and he has that shoot first mentality offense. And then you have Will Cooley, who's like the grinder and will just like hammer guys in the corner, but then also like dig in for pucks. And I think it has kind of one of each player type on that line that when they get cooking and connecting, if you can stay healthy with them, because Hedl has had those injury issues, they're going to look great, and they did that night against Pittsburgh. Hedl had a great kind of like quick release shot. That was actually blocker side on Jarry. And then, all the other lines, like what more is there to say about the Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere line? That was their best line in playoffs last year. And it's really just like, can you get Zibanejad, Kreider, and now the new addition, Riley Smith, who came from the Penguins, but who used to play on the Knights. Can that kind of not unlock, because like, what is there more to unlock for Zibanejad? Like, he just needs to shoot more.
Yeah.
And like Smith, I think, is a good
He's
passer
quiet.
and a great hard-nosed player. They just gotta do it, man. It's like, this is the year. This is the year they gotta do it.
This is the year.
And so I'll just like.
They got the goalie. They got the defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing.
The top six.
The contract talks with Shesterkin didn't affect Shesterkin at all. He had the the season opener shutout for the Rangers. He looked great. He looked solid. The whole deal with there was a rumor going around that he was offered $11 million for 8 years and he rejected it. It's like, they're trying to make that a bigger story than it is. Like, yeah, that would make him the highest paid goalie, but I think there were reports of him getting like 12 to 13. And he's the best player on the Rangers, and they don't go anywhere without him. So him turning down it's not a low number, but it is definitely like, oh, maybe if we throw out $11 million, he'll take it, and then we can just like say like, thank God he took it, and he didn't.
Right.
And that's fine. It's within his right. Again, like, he can. I think he'll end up taking
a
high 11.
Him.
Low ball, not really.
Low,
it was
yeah.
Like,
I mean, obviously $11 million.
They were like, "Hey, will you take this?" And he's like,
"No,
I think I'm worth 12.5." And they're like, "Oh shit!" And then they're gonna come back.
Yeah, the whole story about being paid like the top NHL goalie, like, I think that's kind of wrong. The salary cap is going up.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing.
The trend has been going this way anyway.
The percentage is going to be a lot the first year, but I think it's going to keep jumping by like $5 million, maybe more every year if the league keeps doing well. And they've been doing a good job, I think. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Shesty, but I think he'll end up probably high 11s, and I don't care. Like, yeah, you sign him. And then the other thing that's going on, the only other real like contract talk right now, at least, is there was a report that Lafreniere, they might be in talks for an 8x8 deal or something similar.
So similar to Slav and Gunther and
which like lock him up now.
Yeah.
Pay him now. If he has another great season and like maybe he bets on himself and he's like, no, I'm not going to take it. We'll talk after the season. And he scores 35 goals and you're like, oh man, now we got to pay you like 9.5.
Right.
And maybe that happens. But if you can get him at 8x8 or 8x8-1, like I don't care. I think for both of those guys, you do it. They're the future.
Yeah,
at least for the next 8 years. I mean, Shesty's 30.
You got to have a core for the future, and I think, well, at least Montreal's doing that. So
yeah, it's doing a good job. So let's talk about the next game for you that happened this week. Game 2.
Game 2. Yes, Boston Bruins.
Another rival, which is like what a way to open up the series.
Yeah,
the season.
So
hard-nosed.
we had an opening night in Toronto, and then immediately the next day, the boys flew over to Boston.
Yep.
I was a bit nervous for this one because Boston's obviously a very talented team, but I think we put up a great fight.
And that's all you can really like ask for when you're at this stage. Like for me, you're not a playoff team.
Yeah.
Like, how are you
for
going to
most
get
people,
in?
we're not.
How are you going to get?
I don't think we're a playoff
unless
team.
you have some teams really fall off. Like if Florida just like, not that they're going on a skid. It's been 3 games. If they just like totally dive bomb in the standings, like
Florida,
right, that's
Tampa.
1 out. Tampa, you never know, but like they're always around. Like the Leafs are going to be in. Then you have like the pesky like Senators. Like they're kind of making moves. So I don't think you're in, but like
I think
all you
got to
do is take a step. Just take a step forward.
Yeah.
Be competitive in these games. That's
yeah.
it.
That no, you said it exactly right. I was just looking. My expectation for this was just fighting hard, being competitive, seeing some effort, and I did see that during the Boston game. I mean, it was back and forth for some time. Caulfield getting another goal was great. He's keeping a good goal streak right now.
Yeah, good.
Not too. I was expecting it for it to be physical and maybe some fights, but it was pretty tame on that end. Given that we were a rivalry, maybe I missed a fight. I did watch the game, but anyway, the only real disappointment from that game, and maybe other fans would agree, is Caden Primo. He was just. We were a little high on him because he's our official backup. Last year we actually had 3 goalies, which is a very
Jake
unconventional.
Allen?
Yeah.
You're the 3-headed goalie monster.
The 3-headed goalie monster.
We
don't want that. And we held that for half a year until Jake got traded to Jersey. Traded or signed? I'm not sure.
Either way.
We have high hopes for Primo's development because he spent some time in the AHL and now he's like officially the backup. And there were some weak ones he let in. There was one where, I forget who, but he was just backhanding it in. This is the 6th goal that Boston scored. And we just made it 5-4. Or we just made it, And it's right in front of him. He just doesn't cover it up. And then he gets the same guy gets a rebound and punches it in.
Well, that's, I think that's just, he's got to make the jump from AHL to NHL, probably, and he's just got to, if he has a couple more games like that, then you can be really worried, but, like, maybe it's just...
He has time, he has time to...
And with Monty playing well, then you don't need to rely on him yet, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Just to chime in about the 3-headed goalie monster, there's already unrest, because the Rangers used to have one with Lundqvist, Georgiev, and Shesty.
That's a pretty big one.
It's a big one, but like Georgiev was never it, and he is already kind of getting. It seems like I've taken a look at Avalanche Twitter.
They're getting blasted.
They're mad. They're mad at him. They're like, why can't we need to get a real goalie. It's like
He played well last year though.
Yeah, but they were a better team. Now they're like kind of injury ridden. They have Landeskog still on the IR. That's something we should have covered earlier on, but I just wanted to bring that up. Like. Georgiev, it was a fun kind of time when he was on the Rangers, but I'm glad we made the right choice and kind of shipped him off.
I will say, like the main thing is just like for development purposes, like I would say Primo, unfortunately, probably got the bad end of that last year because he didn't get many starts.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have spent time in the AHL to like be the starting goalie.
Yeah.
To So that was the main detriment, I think, and maybe we did him a disservice by doing that. But hopefully, I mean, it was Boston. It's a tough team.
Yeah.
It's scary. Like in front of TD Garden, tons
It's
of
scary.
fans.
You're scared.
No, like I could get how.
You can't be saying that.
It's
The
nerve
Boston's
wracking.
scary. Oh, come
Nerve
on.
wracking.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, if you're a player, like, yeah, it's going to be somewhat nerve-wracking and somewhat scary. You know, I don't know, like the intensity of that.
It's intense.
The
for
hate.
Sure.
We
Yeah,
hate
the
each other.
Yeah, the hate's real.
For some reason, I feel like the hate between Boston and Montreal is more than Montreal Leafs because we see the Leafs. Like, we're literally in the same region pretty much.
Yeah.
But Boston, Montreal is like, you know, you could feel the intensity.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Boston just plays that way, though. They're
Yeah.
always just, like, hard-nosed. But, so any big takeaways from that game? You played well. Primo was a little shaky, but it's a good team.
I love the effort.
Yeah.
I didn't see Doc that game. Maybe I'm wrong, but Kirby Doc, that game was in particular a little invisible to me. The second line is a bit rough.
Yeah.
We got Armia, Doc, New Hook. And that line in particular that night was pretty invisible. And mainly because, I don't know, I don't want to blame Armia. I love Armia. But he does have a slow pace to his game. Maybe maybe he's the only option right now to be put there. But he's certainly not the best option that we can have. Even without Laine, I think there's some room for, you know, experimentation there because Armia is not a second line kind of guy.
Well, you gotta just like make do with what you have with these injuries. So what you think when Laine's back, he'll hop in for Armia. Armia go down to the third line, and it'll be Laine,
Armia might go
Doc,
third,
and someone else.
Yeah, third line. Third line should be. Well, we got some interesting players now coming into our pipeline. We got Kapanen and Emil Heineman, who just scored his first NHL goal yesterday.
I don't know him, so you
yeah, no, I honestly thought he scored a goal last year, but
Did he play a lot last year?
No, it is. So like this is his first time really playing, but he did pretty well in the AHL. Kapanen, he made his jump from the Europe League. I forget what league is in. It's like some Swedish league.
Kapanen?
Yeah, it's
Capo Kakan? No, that's the goalie.
It's
Who's Kapanen?
Oliver Kapanen.
Oliver
Kapanen, cousin of whatever the Kasperi Kapanen.
Kasperi, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he's a cousin of him.
Interesting.
One of our top prospects. He made the jump this year because he played really well in the preseason.
Nice.
He hasn't had his first goal, but he has his first point already. So we have a couple great players in the pipeline. Dvorak and people like Armia might be pushed out, more so towards Dvorak. But thankfully we keep him because he's a locker room presence. The guys love having Dvorak, even though he's a very quiet personality.
Yeah.
Like his nickname is Rusty. So and like Cole in particular loves hanging out with Dvorak. So
that's good.
Brendan Gallagher on the.
He had a pretty good big game, right? He had 2 goals or something.
He's been playing really well, and this is where I'm going to say about Lane Hudson. Even last night, I mean, I'm jumping to another game, but he's been playing really well. He scored a goal in Boston.
Yeah.
Was it 2?
I thought Galley had 2, or maybe was just a part of 2.
Yeah.
2 points at least, right? Yeah.
It's hard. Sometimes it's hard for me to keep track who scores because it's just generally surprising. We don't normally score, and it's usually just the first line.
That's a good sign.
Yeah,
hopefully
it's a good
Marty
sign.
has him going.
Yeah, no, they do, and I think this is.
That's gonna be. I think that coaching signing is gonna age so well. Like I think he's just gonna.
I love Marty, and I think the fans love him. Management loves him.
How can you not love him? He's like.
The
hard working.
I don't want to disappoint him.
Yeah.
Like, and I think the players don't want to disappoint him. And
that's good. I mean, you need that inspiration as a coach. I think he puts off a similar vibe to Brindamore, I think, which is great. Like, how can you can't get better than that?
And my worst fear is like, I don't know. I guess somehow the rebuild doesn't work out within the next 2-3 years, and
Is that
they're
your timeline, you think? Like 2 years to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think so. Once Demidov comes in, now it's going to be like, all right,
Yeah.
we're going to really track things. But even this year, I think we're going to track things now.
Keep freaking piling up the high first-round picks like this year.
It's true. I mean, Edmonton did that.
What I feel like what your game plan should be is if you think you're not going to, like, and you're not going to throw games, but if you just, like, are competitive, like if you have games like the Boston game, like 70 times and you end up losing by 1, it's like, all right, there's real progress. We're still one of the worst teams in the league. We're still going to get a top 5 pick. You get another top 5 pick, and then you, like...
Yeah.
But you got to, I mean, obviously there's a monetary incentive. You got to get out of that hole eventually.
There's a couple interesting stats.
You need a winning culture.
Yeah. And a lot of the games last year, we lost by 1.
Yeah.
So, like, it was, like, over 20 games where we lost by 1.
Which
is an indicator that we're putting some effort. We just need to...
What place did you get in last year?
Third, 26. So
26th.
So
Sorry,
fifth to last.
So what about in the division?
Oh, definitely. Who was number 1 in the draft?
No. I'm just talking about division because I'm thinking.
Oh, division.
Like,
I mean, we're probably the bottom.
think
I think Buffalo was higher.
Really?
Sens were higher. Yeah, we're definitely at the bottom.
I mean, the way Buffalo looks, you better be higher than them this year.
Okay, well, here's one thing I'm thankful for. Our rebuild is going nothing like Buffalo's.
True.
Or the Sens.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, I think we're a little slightly... We have a better prospect pool than both of them.
We have a better coach.
Better coach.
Lindy Ruff, I do not. I can't believe they hired him again. That's insane.
It's funny. We used to do that, though, with Claude Julien and Michel Therrien.
Yeah. Well,
we basically...
It's the French Canadiens, man. That's how it goes.
So it was good change. I mean, it just so happened that Marty also speaks French,
of course.
So that's an added bonus.
Yeah, man.
But even if he didn't speak French, I think we would have still hired him. So Boston, we lost. Primo could have saved a couple for us, and it kept us really competitive and in the game. If Monty, let's say if Monty was in, I think we could have had a chance of winning.
Taking to overtime, maybe.
Taking to overtime.
Was it a 1-goal game?
Two-goal game.
Empty net?
6-4. No, it's just
Interesting. Okay, well that's good. I mean, they're a fun team to watch with Caulfield at the very least, and Suzuki
Caulfield.
and Slav. So
and
Hudson, I guess. Yeah.
The young guys and the first line is what we're really excited for.
Okay.
Yeah. So second game, Rangers.
Yeah. So Rangers have only played 2. Habs have played 3. To get into the second game, the Rangers against the Utah Hockey Club, which they are looking great. Like they are looking like an offensive powerhouse. They score off the rush. They have like really great offensive weapons in Keller and Gunther, and they have the young guys like Michelli and Cooley.
I did draft Gunther and Keller. I love it,
dude. That's a great pick in fantasy because Gunther has 5. I think he's leading
5
the league.
goals.
He's leading
5
the
goals, 0 assists.
Right?
He just scores. He just
it's
scores.
insane. I think their problem's gonna be I don't know their defensive depth, and then I also don't know Connor Ingram has looked pretty shaky. I pulled him in as a backup in fantasy, and he, even last night, the Rangers were dumping it in deep on him, and he was being aggressive playing the puck, similar to how Shesty plays, but he's not as smooth or good with it. So that it caused a couple turnovers a few times, and not that this is his fault. The Rangers ended up scoring on Keandre Miller walking it into the zone, or over the red line, shoot it in off the glass. It hit a stanchion and went in. So it's and because Ingram was behind the net, so Ingram went behind the net to play the puck, and it just took a weird bounce and went in.
Yeah.
Which is that could have happened to any goalie, but I think I don't even really know where Ingram was. He just was.
I don't know
on
where
Arizona
he came from.
for a while.
I think it was just on Arizona. Yeah.
So I mean, if he's got to kind of figure it out, I think. Rangers end up losing in overtime, but it
was a back and forth.
It was a back and forth. They may have held the lead once in the game, but they were trailing for most of the game.
They came back.
They came back, which is what we're used to them doing. It's kind of like it's not boring by any means, but it's kind of like you expect it at this point. Like if it's a 1-goal game and we're playing the hockey club or any other real team, and there's 10 minutes left, you're like, I mean, they're gonna score. Like it just.
It's good to have that confidence.
Know it. And then it's like, oh, we're gonna get a power play at some point because we're like, they're a fun team, the hockey club, but I think we're more like. We're a better put together team.
So you're calling them the hockey club, not Utah. I just say Utah.
The Utah hockey club.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Call them both. I think they're going to be the Yeti next year, but
that would be a sick name.
I just have the belief that the Rangers, they're going to outwork and just like outplay them because they're a more experienced, like better team. And so like that's what ended up kind of happening. We tie them, we get the point, we send it to overtime, and then the OT goal was just. It was back and forth, and then Zibanejad kind of just let Keller walk to the front of the net.
Yeah, so he's behind the net.
Yeah.
And the Rangers are looking out for the
pass. They're trying to defend the pass,
and
Keller's like,
comes around.
Oh, this is interesting. Look at all this space right in front of the net. Oh, okay. And
but what pisses me off is even when he was right in front of Shesty, who was in front of Shesty? Who was that Ranger?
It was Mika.
He doesn't try to walk over.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I think he probably, he was doing exactly what we said. He was trying to defend against the pass. He probably didn't think that Keller would take it to the front, which I don't know why. They scored, I think, 3 goals really close to Shesterkin upstairs, which is usually hard to do because Shesty's a good, like, aggressive, take away all the space, and usually has good angles. But I think he's the best in the league at angling and like blocking off shots that shouldn't go in. That's why the Rangers are so effective. They know that, all right, if we keep these shots to the outside to like, even if there's 100 shots from the outside, like you see when they played Carolina, that's their game. They just get shots. But they're not like total grade A chances all the time. I'm talking about the playoffs last year.
Right.
They're just confident. Shesty's got it. And this game, Shesty let one in from outside, short side. It was a little weird. Like Schneider was coming across to try to block it and just like squeak through short side. You don't see him miss those pucks that Shesty. You don't see him like not make that save. And then I think there were 2 or 3 goals, including the overtime goal, that were really in close upstairs on him and like close to glove side. And that's just like it's not concerning because it's Shesterkin, but it's a little like that is. I'm not used to that, and it's interesting as to why.
He could be a little thrown
happen.
off because I saw a couple highlights where, particularly after Gunther scores, and you could tell a lot from a goalie's body language after a goal, and he just after the goal, he like stays on the ground. You know, it's a typical like goalie thing. Like you're just like, how did I not get that, or how do I'm not fast. So
he is a crazy competitor.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure he's kicking himself. There was a stat line middle of the game, and I was listening on the radio at one point, and they were like, I think it was second period. They were like, the goals or the save percentage right now for Shesterkin is a .688, and for Connor Ingram it's a .740. I don't think that's what these guys drew up. It was truly, and they called it a beer league game because that's what it looked like. It was like you had pucks flying in off the glass that went in. You'd have like weird penalties and crazy stuff happening.
Wes McCauley, talk about the penalties.
I'm pissed about Wes McCauley. Every time we get him, we seem to lose. Like when we played, even in the playoffs, when he got our games, it was like, I don't know. I can't say that he has an agenda against the Rangers because like I think a lot of teams feel like Wes McCauley kind of is.
Definitely for Montreal.
He tries to be like the star of the show, and it's like, all right, what I do like, beginning first puck drop, he does an homage to Sam Rosen. He's like about to drop it, and he goes, like he points at the goalie, points at the scorekeeper, and then points up right to where Sam is because it's his last season. He's going to do his farewell tour. Loved that, and that's what I like about you get these sound clips or those video clips of Wes saying something or doing something like that. And you can respect it, and you can say, like, all right, that's kind of what hockey needs. But it's also like, dude, how are you calling? I don't know if you saw this. They called a goalie interference. I think it was Keller. If not, it was someone else. And Cooley wrapped up.
Cooley, like Logan Cooley or Will
No,
Cooley?
Will Cooley, sorry.
Okay.
Will Cooley and one of the Utah players wrapped up going for the puck. It's like at the hash marks, I think, or maybe just under the hash marks. Connor Ingram comes out to play it, to like get it out of the way. But Cooley's like, they're both going for the puck. All three of them are going for the puck. But Cooley's wrapped up. He's not like going to motor over Ingram.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he sees Ingram. And he gets, the Utah player kind of has his leg wrapped up, and they just plow through Ingram. And then Cooley ends up getting the puck and gets a shot off, and then they blow it, goalie interference. It's like 20 feet out of the crease.
Yeah, I have to say, if you're out,
you're able to get hit.
You're
able to get hit.
You're liable to get hit.
If like the trapezoid is there for a reason. You cannot hit them behind the net. They're defenseless in the crease. They're not expecting it. He came out to play the puck.
Yeah.
Cooley was not. Cooley was engaged already. If anything, it should have been like. No, I don't think it could have been a penalty on Ingram. But either way, it's like, dude.
I didn't see him to play, but it sounds like he went out further than he should have. And if you're out there, you could get hit.
No, and it's like Cooley ended up shooting it. It was saved, and then I think it was live, but they blew the whistle because they said, "Oh, it's a penalty." But like, it didn't result in a goal. Ingram engaged himself outside of the crease. How are you calling a penalty there?
Yeah,
and it just like kills our momentum. And then there was another goalie interference penalty called, where I think it was Rempe was out. Like, there's replays, you don't even see where he touches Ingram, and the puck went in. Like, I think Rempe was, if this is the crease, or if the crease is like right, you're on the line of the crease. He might have skated. Like, he didn't even go in the blue, but he might have like brushed past where the line of the blue was, but he didn't. If anything, he
didn't go
screened
inside.
him. He screened him.
Oh yeah,
he was there. There was definitely contact with him and the defenseman. And then the puck went in, and they're like, no goal interference. It's like, what are you talking about? Figure that out. And that's where Wes McCauley gets me. It's just like, dude, like, I know it's Rempe, and he's like a giraffe on skates, but it's like, dude, you gotta...
And there's a bias against him, potentially, in terms
definitely.
of calling...
Same as Arbor Jack guy. It's the same thing. We've talked about that.
Thing.
Like they're not going to get the benefit of the doubt when it's like a hit like that, but Rempe didn't hit anyone. He was just in the play, and they're like, no goal. It's like, that I can't stand. So I think, all that happened, all that went against the Rangers. They still climbed back, got the point, and then they lost on a great play by Clayton Keller. So it's like, what are you going to do? Tighten it up on defense? Clearly that's not what they drew up in the locker room. Like, I'm sure Laviolette's going to have a hard talking with the boys about that, because it's just like, how can... You guys are supposed to be an elite team, and you just gave up 5-6 goals in a game. Like, come on, that's not the way we play. What I want to see is, like, I think they've had Fox and Miller playing together because Lindgren is out, and then they have Schneider and Trouba as a second, and then they have Jones and Mancini. Mancini was the guy who made
Mancini?
Victor Mancini. He made the team out of camp, and also because. Lindgren got hurt. It kind of was like a perfect storm of him getting his chance, and he looked great in the preseason. Him and Edstrom, actually, really. Edstrom was a guy, he's another massive, tall dude that, like, him and Rempe are kind of like the Bash brothers, like, going in. But Edstrom is, like, pretty consensus the better hockey player, more skilled than Rempe is.
You guys drafted him?
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe we just... Yeah, I think we must have, but he's Swedish. I think he came over from the Swedish league. But so he...
We have a guy in the pipeline that's sounds similar. Engstrom?
Engstrom?
Is it
We have Edstrom.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
But so Edstrom has been looking great. I think he actually got thrown out. They got in a big fight after the goalie collision, and he was just like wailing on Jack McBain, like 1, 2, 3, like I think he got a game misconduct. He just like totally pummeled him. It's when your arm span is that big. It's just I think Rangers going to continue to be a fun team, but the back to like the defensive piece, like Mancini has been looking good, I think, and him playing with Jones, like it's fun at least. You kind of have that young injection into the lineup. Trouba has also been looking really good. Like his shot selection has been great. Like usually he's just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot it really hard right into like a defender's shin guards. But this time,
he's showing some.
The last 2 games, he's like, oh,
improvement,
all right, let me pick my head up and look at the net, and then I'll shoot. And it's been great. It's produced a couple goals, especially in the Penguins game. But the Miller has had a couple turnovers and cough ups that, usually he can make up for because he's a great skater, fast, and he has a really long reach. But I just want to see him like kind of bear down a little bit more and be more responsible defensively. Because that's the only. I think Lindgren is kind of going to be on the chopping block next year also as a guy who may not return.
Yeah.
And Miller has to take that next step unless you want to just find like a Lindgren type player to put with Fox, and then you have Miller on the second line. Either way could work. But
I like Miller on the second line. It sounds like if you could find that
but
replacement.
it's just there's
for him.
something about like I think your two best defensemen and your two best skaters and your two most prolific like point producers on your blue line is Miller and Fox. So if you can get them to play together, it's kind of like too enticing to not try for an extended period of time.
Yeah, that's true.
So I hope
Definitely
that they
try
do
that.
it for a while
Yeah.
before. Lindgren's skating again, so he's like trying to make it back, but I know he had a pretty bad upper body injury, so might be a couple weeks. And they also have VC out. So that's the last thing maybe I'll talk about, because the game itself was awesome because
I've always never been a big fan of
VC.
VC.
Well, so
Yeah.
just to finish out the game.
Finish out the game.
It was, for a non-fan, it was awesome because there's so many goals. You're going back and forth.
Yeah.
There's fights. There's weird bounce-in goals. There's like a great overtime snipe at the end. But for a fan, it's just kind of like there's things that you got to clean up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
I guess
Utah though, how about their fans? Are they should be excited for a big
of
win
course,
like that?
yeah. Obviously they're like. It's new to them. I'm sure that I would think the Arizona fans are following them.
Yeah.
Still in
Yeah.
Utah. Yeah, and the Utah market is probably just like so like revitalized to have this type of sport there because they're used to having the Jazz, but having this team it's cool. But so final thought, I guess.
On this game.
On the team as a
On the
whole,
team
kind
as
of
a
talked
whole.
about the defense, but I got into the injuries of VC and Lindgren.
Yep.
The fourth line right now is Sam Carrick, who came over from the Oilers. We got him on 3 years for $1 million. And then you have two of Edstrom, Rempe, and Brodzinski.
Okay.
But that's because VC's out. When VC's back, it's going to be someone's either going to have to get sent down, or I don't know how they're going to do it. But VC's going to, he's the best skill player, I would think, out of those five, and he should probably be in the lineup. And what Laviolette has said is it's going to be game by game. We're going to decide who's in. If we need a heavier matchup, maybe we play Edstrom, Rempe. If we need more skill, maybe we go Brodzinski, VC, whatever, with Carrick. But there's some decisions and moves to make there once these guys get a little bit healthier. I think VC's going to miss at least 10 games, though. So we have some time to feel out this fourth line. But it's fun. I think the Rangers are going to make a deep run. I agree. I think you said earlier, you might favorite them for a deep cup run.
There's a list of teams.
Listen,
there's a list of teams.
If the Panthers keep sliding, who's going to stop them? That's what I want to know.
That
the Oilers,
and Edmonton. They're sliding already. I know it's only the first two games.
Yeah, they're going to be up and down.
It's
That's
first
how
two
they
games.
live and die on those two, on McDavid and Draisaitl. And McDavid doesn't have a point yet, right?
He has a point. He has an
point?
assist.
Gotcha.
Draisaitl has one goal.
Yeah.
They scored it yesterday, but they lost. Rough start. High expectation. So I feel for them. They have a really high expectation and bar from the fans and also from themselves too.
Yeah.
If you saw the locker room stuff after they lost in the finals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He was
That's
screaming,
pretty intense.
Not good enough.
Yeah.
I saw something that said it looks like McDavid looked up how to yell before doing that and has never yelled before, and he's just ah. No, but I think that was a really cool. That show is awesome. I gotta finish it up.
No, I haven't started it yet, and
I saw the
I've
clips.
been meaning. Yeah, I saw the clips. So that's a high expectation. Just go to the finals again. It's easier said than done.
Oh, no, it's hard. Of course it's hard.
You
got to get through the full season, not get injured. Every team is one injury away from being just decimated. If Igor goes down,
if McDavid or Draisaitl get injured, they're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think though you see that. It depends. If it's season ending, yeah, I think so. But you've seen for the Penguins, Crosby go down, but then Malkin steps up. they have those. They have the two. Like, if Draisaitl's out, I think McDavid's just gonna still. Put
I also
up
just don't have
hundreds
faith
of
in.
points.
Yeah, true.
And same vice
but
versa.
the defense, well, the goalie Skinner, I don't really have much stock in
that's
him,
true.
to be honest.
I don't think he's bad, but he's not the elite level for sure.
I gotta look up the lines for the Habs real quick. But.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so I think let's finish this up. We've been going for it seems maybe like an hour, over an hour.
A little over.
So maybe we just finish up with the last Habs game.
Yeah, last Habs game.
So what happened there?
So I wasn't able to catch it fully because I was out at a concert last night. But during
what concert?
Well, my
Black
mom,
Coffee? What was it?
No, my mom invited me to this concert called. I haven't heard the band. I mean, it was like a rock concert. It was Nothing But Thieves. Have you heard of them? It's like this English band.
Interesting. I'm a music guy, but maybe it sounds.
Look them up, because they do rock.
Do you recommend? It was good.
I recommend. Would I listen to them independently?
You're like a
maybe not.
70s, 80s rock.
I like the classics, and if I only really go to a concert if I really like the band,
Yeah,
you know,
fair.
I know some of the songs, but I knew none of the songs. But despite me being at a concert, that didn't stop me from keeping refreshing the NHL page just to see the highlights.
I've been at concerts watching playoff games. I'm
yeah,
and then I'm like,
playoffs. That's understandable.
oh my gosh,
That's understandable for
and
playoffs.
then it ruins my night. 2 years ago, I was at a concert, and I think Heedle scored, but they ended up losing to Carolina in Game 5, and I was like, oh, it just totally tanked my night.
Yeah, and you're just
so you gotta, I think you gotta detach.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
right.
really hard,
but that's
though.
playoffs. You know,
Yeah.
you can't miss it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just standing there refreshing the page, Montreal versus Ottawa, and first thing I noticed is it's 2-0.
Who?
We got.
You're up?
Yeah, we're up 2-0. First period, not many shots on net, and there's something I would like to see better in the team is getting more shots on net. There's so many times when I'm watching the game where I'm just like, just shoot, just stop waiting for the perfect pass or opening.
That's a young team thing, though.
Yeah.
I think they'll get over that.
That particularly happens on the power play, and
Yeah.
we've seen this already a couple of times. But the first power play line, Suzuki, Caulfield, Safkovsky, Matheson, who's the fourth, fifth? That's where I messed it up. And Doc, right?
Yeah.
Doc. See, that's another thing. Doc has been I feel like he's been invisible to me.
Yeah.
He had a couple good shots yesterday when I watched the highlights. But on the power play, I was going to say, the first line, it's either Matheson makes a shot from the point that's pretty improbable, or they're looking for the best shot opportunity, that big opening like the first goal you saw in Toronto.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen every time. And we've seen Marty actually send out the second power play unit first when the power play starts. So I like that mixing up because I even did notice a difference. The passing and the shooting would just happen more often with the second power play unit.
Who does the power play go through for both units? Who's the main setup guy on both units?
I mean, the main setup guy for the first one is definitely Matheson. He's the quarterback there.
Gotcha.
At the point, Sue's obviously Slav down low, Caulfield in his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And the second one, it's hard to say. It's kind of mixed.
They're feeling it out.
Well, it's actually no. They're feeling it out still, but definitely right now it's Hudson.
Yeah. It's gotta be.
But it's only a matter of time until he's promoted to the first one.
Yeah.
And maybe we move Matheson to the second one. Who knows?
I mean, if Hudson is that prolific and if he continues to get better, there's no reason you can't have both, and you have Hudson kind of act more as a forward, but you know what I mean? If your best five guys, if you want your best five guys out there, and Matheson can handle the quarterback capabilities, maybe you just do Caulfield, Slav, Hudson, Matheson.
Yeah. Doc.
And then Suzuki. That's your five,
Suzuki,
right?
yeah.
And that.
Yeah.
I mean and then when Line comes back too, are you gonna have him somewhere?
Yeah,
or he slide in?
See, that's where I want. I mean, we've all Habs fans were just that power play. What's it gonna be? And Line.
He's a right shot.
He's a right shot.
So where are you gonna put him? Because Caulfield's in the wheelhouse.
Before he got injured, or the game that he got injured against, Toronto,
Yeah.
Pare,
Yeah.
whatever, shithead.
Yeah.
We'll blur that
No,
out.
no.
He was on the second power play unit, I think.
In
Line
that
A.
same spot where
So
Caulfield is?
Yeah, so first power play unit was the same, line A on the second
So you
power
think
play
you'll
unit.
do you think it'll be more, because the Rangers have just been running like a minute 35 of the first unit. You think you'll
It's
do
going
like
to be like minute 10,
Yeah.
minute 30, maybe.
I think in the Utah game, they actually did put out the second unit for an extended period one time, which I thought you need it. You
Yeah.
need to get Lafreniere reps. You need to get Miller reps, Kakko, those guys.
Yeah,
Like
you
that's
do.
only going to feed into their point totals if they end up scoring. So, but yeah,
So Hudson right now needs his reps.
Yeah.
And he's getting it because, like, as I said, Marty's not afraid to just send out the second power play unit right away.
That's good.
If the first one hasn't been working in the
Yeah.
game.
I mean, it's a good move.
But in this particular game, yeah, I remember who scored. Of course, it's Emil Heinemann. Hudson
is.
coming down from the ice on the boards. He's had some puck battles with Asen. Passes it down to Dvorak, and then Dvorak.
Devo.
Nice vision up front to see Heinemann free, and then snap right in. Great first goal.
Nice. It's Christian Dvorak, right?
Christian Dvorak, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he has another brother, right?
I thought so, but
Yeah, there's another brother pair. So that was a great goal. Caulfield once more. Oh man, when I was at the concert and I saw this goal. This is the first goal I saw.
Yeah.
And
Describe it to me. I didn't see it.
so it wasn't a power play. The first one was a power play, but it wasn't a power play. I don't know if who passes it to him, but he has it. He has it on the left board. Comes a little closer to the circle, and just snaps it in. And Ullmark has nearly his whole body covering the right side, but it goes right above on his top right.
God.
What a snipe!
Yeah.
And I was just like,
short side.
yeah, short side.
The ability for those players to just like fit a puck in like a hole like this big.
But this is what I'm talking about. I believe,
under the bar, just think. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Not only Caulfield could do that, I think a bunch of the guys could do that. Slav could do that. Suzuki could snipe that. And that's why I want them to shoot more.
Yeah.
And that's where Caulfield, he had a high shot, on net last year, just a low percentage, and it was only a matter of time he gets these types of snipes in. So it was just hyped to really see that sneak in, and he made it look so easy.
Yeah.
So
He's elite shooter for sure.
he's been killing it, and he scores again later on.
So there's 4 goals.
4 goals, 4-1 Habs.
Final.
Yeah, final.
4-1 final. Who scored the goal for Sens? You know.
Stutzla. He had a snipe himself.
He's been good. He's been a great.
He
pull.
came down the left side as well and just sniped the top corner
on Monty.
on Monty. Yeah,
But still, hey, that's 2 wins for Monty.
2 wins for Monty. Yeah,
For fantasy, if I wouldn't put any stock in the Habs winning a ton of games, but
that's true.
if they go on a run and Monty's the
See,
guy,
that's why
awesome.
I would say generally I'm a pessimistic fan, like a low expectation fan.
Skeptic. You're skeptic.
Skeptic. I don't want to say pessimistic, but I haven't been drafting many Canadiens over the past years, and it's hard to pick them up.
Yes.
I did draft Suzuki last year, and he did amazing, but it was the perfect round to draft him
Right.
for
Can't
us.
go too high.
Yeah, he didn't go too high, he didn't go too low, so it was perfect. The only Canadian I drafted this year was Hudson, and thankfully that was late because not many people are really, it's his first year in the NHL. You're not going to draft a guy like that.
I got
but
Riley Smith 15th round, and he's playing top line with the Rangers. It's very
Yeah.
low risk. You can drop him if you need, but getting him there and knowing he's playing with Zibanejad and Crowder, he's going to poach points.
Right.
So I felt like
the sad part is actually though Hudson is my best defenseman right now.
yeah, that's fine.
with, with 4 assists, which is
all
great.
matters.
Yeah, only the first week. So
Yeah.
So Alexander Newhook, 3rd goal of the game to make it 3-0. And again, Lane Hudson is the main driver from this. He comes down from Monty, enters the play, and oh wait, I might be making a mistake. It's still Lane Hudson, but he's trying to fight off Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Goes down the line, on the right side when they're in the ozone, passes it down. Somehow it goes back to him, and then at the top, still against Brady, and then Newhook comes in, just simply passes him across, and then there's just a wide opening straight down the middle. Newhook snipes it in short side again.
So it's
I think
Lane driving the play.
Yeah, Lane driving the play.
All right.
For his second assist.
You might be convincing me.
Yeah, I mean,
might
it's
be
a
the
short.
guy.
Again, there's a short sample size.
Yeah.
And especially for a defenseman in general.
He's a U.S. guy, right? Like Team USA, I think. Came from the U.S. development team. Yeah, that's awesome. And he has a brother, Cole Hudson.
Cole Hudson.
And he's on the Caps, I think.
Is he?
He's a prospect at least.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know he was drafted, but they played together last year at BU.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait for Gabe Perreault to come.
Gabe Perreault.
Oh, I think that could be the steal of the freaking generation.
But
man.
that's like your only good.
Hey, Brennan Othman, he's gonna make a step.
Okay.
Berard, we got some guys, and like this kid Mancini, we have kids that just come out of the woodwork. You're like, wow, wait, you're actually good enough to make the team.
Right.
So it's interesting. Anything else final on that game?
Yeah. So Hudson helped that. He just elevates everyone. So far, so good. I know it's short sample size, but we're excited to see his growth there. Cole Caulfield, second goal. Suzuki on in our defensive zones, Slav to Cole. Cole passes it up to Suzuki for a breakaway. Suzuki does a deke, and he misses, but the puck is still up there, and then Cole comes in with the trailer to knock it back in.
Good support.
Yeah, good support there.
I'm sure Marty was pumped about that one.
And now all the Habs fans are saying, 82 goals for Cole.
Yes, you got to. It's like when Kopitar has an opening night natural Hattie, you're like, up 3 times 82. That's what he's doing.
100.
No, it's like 200. 250 goals.
Jeez, man.
I love it.
And a couple names I'll say. Caden Gooley, he's also low-key been playing amazing for us. I'm not only with just the points, but he's just a solid defenseman. He's been there. And that's something I think not many people are talking about, but he's killing it. He's getting into play, getting physical, also great defensively. I see the step up a little. Maybe there's obviously some room where he could improve, but there's been a step up and a good start for him. Not so good start is Justin Barron. He's also a right hand. Well, not also, but he's a right hand defenseman that we have. Kind of invisible. Takes some bad penalties, and sometimes a defensive liability. And my opinion, I see Logan Mailloux. This is my dog making the barking. I see Logan Mailloux making the jump, competing against Barron, and Struble for that spot on the line. Struble right now is our 7th defenseman, but Mailloux just played like one game, and he got 4 points, like 2 goals, 2 assists.
It's an easy way to stay in the lineup for sure.
Yeah, right-hand defenseman too. So
they need that.
Yeah, we
They're
need
short on that. So I guess let's wrap this up because we've been going for a while. But last thing, do you think they're overachieving right now? Or are they,
there might be some regression to the mean.
Off? Yeah. Because like 2 wins, 2-1. I mean, you beat the Leafs, who are most likely gonna. I mean, they're gonna be.
The concern is that we let too many shots in. The concern for me is that we're about us regressing to more losses and to the mean right now. Is we let too many shots in. We're still young defensively. There's still a lot of work to be done. And we don't give enough shots out. Like even last night, we have a good first period, and then we always have a really rough second period where we let too many shots through. Damn it. So. Yeah, I do see a somewhat regression to the mean and maybe some more losses down the line, but hopefully we can keep it up.
I've said it, but do they make the playoffs?
No.
There you have it. Not a playoff team. If they keep playing like this...
I will change my decision, if any, post-November. December.
Yeah, I think there's a good indication of after American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
if you're in a playoff spot, it's
you feel it. You feel where you're
if you're
competitive.
well out of a playoff spot, it's hard to get back in. Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good. We'll definitely have a check-in around like mid-season.
My only really hope and prayer is that we just stay healthy this season. I don't care if we miss the playoffs or we have a lot of bad games. I just want everyone to have enough time for themselves to play hockey.
Yeah, that's what they need. They just need
that's
the
what they need,
development
especially
years.
Doc.
Yeah. Okay, well that's great. I think that's been the podcast.
Wait, what about you? What about Ranger expectations?
Okay, well we're gonna cut that.
Yeah. What about Ranger expectations? What do you?
Yeah, I mean it's
the
kind
coming
of like
weeks?
cup or bust.
Cup or bust.
Is that? I don't think that's a crazy.
So take it week by week.
It's week by week. Get into the playoffs. Don't be a wild card team. I think that's an expectation. Be in one of the top 3 slots. I think they should. They
President's Trophy.
I mean, they were presidents last year. I don't need to win the President's Trophy. It doesn't matter. It's just a rank.
Yeah.
I think looking at everyone around the league, they should be the best team in the Metro. I think the only team that will rival them is the Devils if they stay healthy. But they have Luke Hughes out. Jack Hughes is battling things constantly. Markstrom, we'll see how he does.
Their secondary scoring is compensating though for the time being.
Yes, no, definitely, and that's what you need, and that's what they're gonna make a return to the playoffs this year, I think. But it's kind of just will they be higher ranked than the Rangers? And then I think the Hurricanes will get in, but I think the Rangers will be 1 or 2 in the Metro again, and that's gonna decide what our draws and who we play.
Wow.
And then
the Metro's kind of weak compared to the
it's
Atlantic.
weaker for sure. Well, now
I mean,
for
Atlantic
sure.
is kind of crazy.
Well, Hurricanes lost a lot of guys. They're still gonna play the Rod system, so they'll be fine. But then, yeah, I mean, you have the Islanders are going to be there, but probably not great, right? There might be wild card, and then the Caps, the Pens, the Blue Jackets, they all suck. And then the
Pens are on the down.
The Flyers,
Caps
I guess,
are on the
depends
down.
what Mitchkov does and what their goalie situation is. But
I know we could go all
yeah,
day.
we're not. We gotta.
But he tried the Michigan,
Yeah,
which I find hilarious.
Of course he did. Of course he did, dude. This is for those guys like him and Bedard. This is just and even Celebrini, they're just flying out there. I can do anything. I'm a freaking 18.
No, I love that confidence. Yeah, no, that
cool.
confidence is needed.
But the Rangers, they need to. Nothing is good enough now unless they win. And
that's that's a high bar.
It sucks that the bar is that high because it's almost even if they have a great year and make it to the conference final again or make it to the cup, it's I can't look at it as a success.
If I were you, I'd be we have to make the finals.
Yeah, but then if we're there, why we have to win?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
I'm not going to be you know what? They did a good job. They made the finals. I'm going to be no, you're
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
I
you
don't see
win.
any other team, and we'll see how it develops, but what team in the West is the powerhouse? It's going to be the Oilers or Vegas maybe they'll make it. And then what do the Jets
Vegas
do?
is doing well
The
now.
Jets every year they start out hot. And they're oh, this is the team.
Come
Hellbuck's
playoffs,
looking
they
good.
don't,
And then
yeah.
they stink. So it's I feel it every year more and more. It's got to be their year. It's got to be their year.
Dallas is the competitor in the West.
Yeah, but I just don't. They don't scare me. I don't
Right,
know. They just
yeah.
don't
They're not the Colorado team that won.
Yeah, the
you know?
Colorado team that
was
won,
scary.
the Vegas team that won, and Florida. You're just that
Yeah,
team is built for this. They have the grit. They have the skill. They have the scoring. They have the D. They have the goalie. They have everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, Florida added so much at the deadline too. They got Okposo in there. They got Tarasenko playing third line minutes, and they had all these guys. So it's win. It's win or
Yeah,
nothing.
those guys are scary.
It's win or nothing. It's win or nothing. We'll see again. We'll make a.
Make a follow up.
Well, no. I mean, we'll have a follow up
What?
mid-year for sure, and
Yeah.
have another thought on it. But I don't think that my thoughts are going to change. Yours might, because you're more more volatile where you're at.
No,
but-
I'll give credit to where it's due.
Yeah.
For the Rangers, I meant that. But for us, yeah, it's up in the air. It's
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I'm
You could
excited.
sneak in. I
We
could
could
see.
sneak
I could see
in.
something crazy happening, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I just want people to stay healthy. I want
Yeah.
Liney to come and get an amazing first goal. Obviously, we're waiting for Hudson's first goal and even Doc's first goal after 2 years of being out. Or
Yeah.
it feels like 2 years, but it's been a
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just love to see. I want to see his confidence a little more after that first goal.
Definitely. Definitely. Well, that's it for this podcast. This is the first inaugural podcast for Can Blue. Again, that's Canadiens blue shirts. I'm the blue shirts representative, Ben Prattley. This is Brendan Furtado on the Canadian side. And we're going to try to do this pretty frequently.
Pretty frequently.
Get
Our
those
week.
recaps in, and please, I don't know,
Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.